Welcome back to Improvision Entertainment. My name is Hunter Munn, and this is going to be more of American Truck Simulator, in which I am taking a long trip for a beet harvester from Glendive to Holbrook all the way to Arizona, because we've not made this type of trip before, so we're going to get on it. I may futz around a little bit with whatever my conversation choice is, and if I want to, like, oh, you know, I could play the news. I've done that before. We can find out what's going on in the world today. That'll just take me a second to do. We are having an urgent delivery while we're at it, by the way, so, alright. I should have planned this out ahead of time. Interact button. Shows. It's a little early in the evening for... wait, 17? No, we're good. That didn't go as planned. Alright, make sure that's on the other screen. Alright, so, trigger warning for the news, as I have done in the past. Doing things a little bit differently. Alright, we are having a heavy cargo, which means we gotta be mindful of both our speed, our power, our articulation.
I don't know if you're ready for the spicy takes, but whether you're ready or not, if you're watching, you are gonna get them. Welcome to TYT. I'm your host, Anna Kasparian, and we have a bonanza ahead for you today. In the first hour, we'll talk about a lot of different stories that will probably be rage-inducing.
I don't think I get in trouble for driving down lanes. I'm a wide load, so I could do that, right?
Democrats toward Liz Cheney
Turn
for
left.
once in her life doing one thing correctly. But should we really be?
Oh, I've got a green light to go forward.
You know, and I'll make that argument at the top of the show. Later, we'll also talk about a story involving a rookie police officer who was gunned down in a botched robbery here in California.
Really?
You might be wondering, why do we care about this local story? Well, it has broader ramifications that I want to discuss. And then
Okay.
in the second hour,
I am wondering.
Wandre joins me. We are not having an ice cream party Wednesday. John Idarola is out. He is off, hopefully enjoying some much-deserved time off. But Wosny Wandre is fantastic, and we're going to have great discussions,
I'm
including...
glad that train isn't
some
distracting me.
sessions where we will be
Oh,
continuing
this is the news for
having,
August
Mehmet Oz,
17th,
he's
2022.
embarrassing himself, and I absolutely love it. We'll also talk about
Turn left.
Texas banning books like Anne Frank's Diary, which, to be quite honest with you, was a pivotal book for me to read when I was in elementary school, because it helped me understand the severity of what happened during the Holocaust.
All right, rain in cab is a frame rate drop, noted. That's probably the reflecting
We'll talk about
effects.
that, a little later. But before we get to any of that stuff, it's really, really important for you guys to like and share the stream if you're watching us on YouTube. If you're not watching us on YouTube, no worries. There are other ways that you can support the show and get the message out there, including becoming a member. You'll get all sorts of exclusive members-only content. Other perks come along with it. Go to tyt.com/join or click on that join button if you're watching.
I like how in American Truck Simulator and Euro Truck Simulator you don't have the super realistic windshield wipers that inevitably get stuck on your windshield and kind of make that scraping rubbery against glass noise. I hate that. I hate that noise.
2 years ago, I won this primary with 73% of the vote. I could easily have done the same again. The path was clear. But it would have required that I go along with President Trump's lie about the 2020 election. It would have required...
Oh, Cheney lost?
his ongoing
That was bound to
efforts
happen.
unravel our democratic system and attack the foundations of our republic. That was a path I could not and would not take.
you just heard the concession speech from Wyoming Representative Liz Cheney, who is one of very few Republican lawmakers who's been willing to
I believe we'll be driving through
hold
Wyoming
Trump
soon.
accountable for what he did in inciting violence
Soon, TM.
on January 6th, for what he did in continuing this narrative about the election being stolen from him, when in reality there hasn't been a single shred of evidence indicating widespread voter fraud. And Liz Cheney knew that she was taking a risk by holding Trump accountable, and that risk came to fruition with her essentially losing this primary in her state of Wyoming. Now, as a result, her term will expire on January 3rd of next year. And I want to give you some more details about what this all means electorally before ripping Cheney to shreds, because she does deserve it. Doing one good thing doesn't erase a record of terrible, terrible policies, warmongering, support for war crimes. We'll get to all of that in just a moment. But what were the results of this election? Well, with the Republican Party clearly serving Trump, even when he's not in power, her decision, again, to hold him accountable hurt her considerably. Harriet Hagman, a lawyer with Trump's endorsement, ousted Cheney on Tuesday, clinching the GOP nomination for deep red Wyoming's only House seat. Cheney fell in defeat despite her appeals to Democrats and independents to re-register as Republicans and vote for her.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen,
Her
girl.
opponent had about 66% to Cheney's nearly 29%. And that's insane, because the last time she ran for re-election,
Exit
she
14.
won easily with upward of 70% of the vote in her favor. And it's because she's deeply conservative. Liz Cheney has always been deeply conservative. And despite what she thinks about Donald Trump today,
Catching this
the
bus.
fact of the matter is she voted along with his agenda 90% of the time. So let's not forget about that. Now, her opponent used to support Cheney. Okay, this is Hagman. Used to support Cheney, and in 2016, she even opposed Donald Trump, calling him
I have to get back over for a
humanist,
turn.
racist, and
exit
xenophobic.
right.
But she has since come to embrace Trump once she realized that it could actually serve her own personal
Exit
interests,
right.
of course. That's my addition. And basically claimed that the 2020 election was rigged against him, as many successful Republican candidates around the country
roundabout.
have claimed. Now, do
In
they
America?
claim that because
Apparently
they
it's more likely
genuinely
than you
think
think.
that
At
Biden
the roundabout,
rigged the
take the
election,
third exit.
or do they say it because they don't have
Keep left.
the balls to tell the truth about what really
Keep
happened?
right.
They don't have the balls to stand up to Donald Trump. And more importantly, aside from being massive
Exit now.
cowards, these are individuals who are just interested in protecting their own political careers, and they're willing to sell out
At
the
the
American
roundabout,
people to
take
do
the
just
first
that.
exit.
Now, what's even more scary, if you take a broader look at what's
Is that
happening
not an
with
exit?
these congressional elections, some gubernatorial
Exit
elections as
now.
well. In battleground states, candidates who deny the legitimacy of the 2020 vote have won GOP nominations this year for nearly 2/3 of state and federal offices with power
Right.
over elections.
That's super depressing.
So there is a scary component to this, because with the help of this right-wing media ecosystem, you have Republican voters who have been convinced, absolutely convinced, that the election was stolen from Donald Trump. They live in an alternate reality.
So,
And it's, of course, partly
the
because
normal
they
way
live in a
that
certain filter, media filter
centrist
bubble,
Democrats
where
lose
they're
elections to
hearing lies
Republicans
over and
is because they
over
try and
over
be
again.
kind
Now,
of
Trump's
conservative to
impact
get their
was felt,
votes,
in some of
but
his other
if
primary
Republicans
races
really
last
want to
night.
vote for a conservative,
Moderate, as she
they'll
was being
vote for a
described, Lisa
Republican.
Murkowski faced a
And it sounds like
Trump
Liz
backed
Cheney
Joe
just
Fowler,
had the same
Kelly,
problem in reverse.
Shabaka, and
She was
both
being
advanced
a
for
moderate
Go straight on.
Republican, but a moderate
primary to the
Republican
general
is a
election.
Democrat. So if you
Former
want to vote
Governor
for a
Sarah
Democrat,
Palin, I can't
just vote
believe
for a
she's
Democrat.
still
You're not going to
around.
vote for a moderate
The
Republican in a
anti-establishment
Republican
backed
primary.
by Trump
Republicans
advanced
don't
in
do
the
anything
all-party
moderately anymore.
primary to November's election in
Their
Alaska's
their
lowest
base has
congressional
been
district.
whittled
Now,
down to
Now, there are
super crazy.
reports, that Liz Cheney is considering what the future holds for her political career, and she was asked point blank during an interview on the Today Show whether she might consider higher office. Let's watch.
higher office.
You said this fight is just beginning. You've even launched a political organization already. So let's just be straight about it. Are you considering running for president yourself? Well, what
You
I'm
should have
gonna
gotten back
do
over
is
sooner, dude.
Spend the next several months completing my work in Congress.
Congress, obviously completed my work representing the people of Wyoming. We have a tremendous amount of work left to do on the January 6th committee.
Did she get to stay on the January 6th committee even
She
though
didn't deny that
she's...
considering it. Clearly,
Oh,
it's
hey.
something that she's thinking about.
$13,000 from Oscar.
Uncertain
Nice.
as to how serious she is in considering a presidential run in 2024. Anyone in the Democratic Party, any Democratic voter,
I wish the cruise control had a resume button, like in other vehicles in real life.
It really depends. How would she run? Would she run as a Republican or would she run as a Democrat? And I think that's a legitimate question to ask, because ever since the Trump era came to fruition, what we've noticed is that the so-called never Trump Republicans, many of whom were supportive of the Bush administration, have now traveled over to the Democratic Party.
Right.
And I don't want them. I don't want them at all. I don't want the Democratic Party to be essentially become realigned to represent the garbage that we experienced during the Bush years. And Liz Cheney, along with her father, of course, Dick Cheney, it's very representative of the neoconservatives that destroyed this country during Bush's 8 years in office. And I think it's really, really important to remember that. Now, that's the reason why I have problems with Cheney. But the Republican voters in Wyoming,
Get
they
ready
were asked,
to turn left.
Wyoming, they were asked, what do you think about her potentially running for president in 2024? Let's take a listen to what they had to say.
I don't think I would support her in a presidential.
Turn left.
No, please, no.
Okay, we have technically yielded and not stopped, but I looked both ways, and everything was fine.
Been hurt by our new president, so.
I'm not a Cheney fan. No, I think she should just go back to Virginia and forget to get another job. She's redoing her resume today.
Go straight on.
Now, those interviews serve as anecdotal evidence for the disdain that Republican voters in her own state have toward her. But I would argue that the fact that she very easily lost the primary race is pretty indicative of how Republicans feel about her brand of republicanism, which is republicanism that includes all of the policy proposals, all of the ideas
Go
that we
straight
absolutely
on.
hate. But she's willing to tweak the party a little bit by being critical of Donald Trump.
Keep right.
Not good enough.
Did I have
And
right
then
away
not
there?
someone that I want to
Or
see
did I
as a
just
leader.
run a stop sign
I will
again?
say she's done a good job with the January
Turn
6th
right.
hearings. She's thorough, she's persuasive, but I'm uncertain as to whether or not she's swayed anyone who was more aligned with Donald Trump's BS about
Go
the
straight
election being
on.
stolen. I think to some extent she's preaching to the
Okay.
choir on that issue.
No, that's
But
two-way
I
stop.
do want to talk a little
Maybe
bit
the other
about
way
what
was
it
a two-way
would mean if
stop,
she
too.
ran, right? So if she runs as a Republican, I think it might actually be a good thing. Who knows if she would split the vote enough for it to make a difference? But running as a Republican, have at it. It has no impact on me. It has no impact on, where the Democratic Party moves to. So that's fine. But it would be kind of dumb to run as a Republican, wouldn't it? Considering
2000.
that Trump
Have a
is
bypass the
leader
way
of the
station.
Republican
Cool.
Party, and the voters seem to really love him. Following
Okay,
the
so
FBI
red
raid,
means
his
you do not
polling
bypass the
actually
way
Go
station.
straight
increased,
on.
and he widened his lead against Ron DeSantis to the tune of 10 points. Ron DeSantis was closing in on him, and then after the raid, his supporters became much more galvanized. So the idea of Liz Cheney running as a Republican for president in 2024 seems like, honestly, a dumb idea for her. But if she did it, I wouldn't care one way or the other because it really doesn't have an impact on us, right? Now, would she run as a Democrat? I don't think so. But whether she does or doesn't, I think this brings us to a much more important issue that I think needs to
This is
be
very
addressed.
common
So
relaxing.
other progressive,
And then turn
shows
right.
and
Wait, hold on.
writers
It was common
as
relaxing,
well
but now it's a
really
right-hand
double
turn.
down on it. Liz Cheney is not our hero.
Turn right.
Liz Cheney is bad. Very bad. Okay? She didn't really seem to have a problem with Trump for the majority of his term. It wasn't until Trump tried to essentially overturn the results of the presidential election where she realized, nah, maybe I shouldn't continue enabling this clown. And she suffered the political
I just realized
consequences
what's
for
wrong
that,
with
to
me
be sure.
glancing over at
But
chat.
nonetheless,
Chat is
let's
really far out of the way. I
remember
need to
who
rearrange
Liz
my
Cheney
window.
is,
One second.
okay? Cheney has built a staunchly conservative voting record over nearly 6 years in Congress. When Trump was in office,
I have to
she
flick it
voted with
between
him
the
more than
monitors.
90% of the time. Her family is
Sorry about
Republican
that.
royalty in Wyoming, although I'm a little unsure if that's really still the case. To remind you of a few other things, she promoted regime change in Iran. She also, in 2009, founded, along with Bill Kristol, another war hawk, something known as Keep America Safe. It's an organization concerned with national security issues, or at least it's an organization that pretends to be concerned about national security issues in order to fearmonger to Americans
Go straight
and
on.
manufacture consent for more war in countries that we really shouldn't be meddling in. And why does she do it? Could have something to do with the fact that she's looking out for her defense contractor friends, campaign contributors. I mean, you guys know the drill. You know how this all works. Again, the Bush era was a disaster. Let's not forget about it. I'm still old enough to remember warrantless wiretapping. I'm still able to remember the torture, which they used euphemisms for, like enhanced interrogation, waterboarding people. I still remember what happened at Abu Ghraib, where U.S. members of the military were humiliating, torturing, and photographing some of the prisoners that they had at that facility. Cheney's also, as I've mentioned, a neoconservative. Her focus has always been on hawkish foreign policy.
Seem to be stuck at around 50 miles an hour.
Which is fine, but when they say support for the military, they're not talking about the men and women who put their lives on the line to defend the country. They pretend like they care about those individuals, but let me remind you, their starting pay is so abysmal that it would make minimum wage workers in this country, feel like they might be the lucky ones. They're making less than $20,000 a year starting pay to be a member of the military. Now, when she talks about supporting the military, she talks about supporting
What did that sign say?
the industries that have to do
Go straight
with
on.
military operations. Again, these private defense contractors that make a killing off of people.
Is a vehicle coming, or I'd
pushing
consider
for
passing this
more
truck?
defense spending and
I can
more
pass it
war.
on the
People like
side.
Cheney. She's also very pro-business and is a so-called social conservative. What does social conservative mean? Social conservative just means we don't want any social safety net. We don't want any social spending. We want tax cuts for the rich. Again, a
Hey, I made it.
representative of everything
Don't do that.
progressives
Definitely
are
don't
supposed
do
to
that.
despise. But the
Alright, when we get to
establishment
120,000, I'm
Democratic
gonna get
Party is
another
willing to
truck and
open
driver.
their arms to her. Because to be quite honest, they're more interested in being inviting toward Bush-era Republicans as opposed to leftists or progressives. It's amazing how complimentary they've been toward Cheney, especially over the last year. And
Get ready to
finally,
turn
let me
left.
allow John Nichols to have the last word on Liz Cheney. He had an interview with Democracy Now! Today. Here's what he had to say about it.
Liz Cheney is every bit as right-wing as Donald Trump, perhaps even a
Turn
little
left.
more right-wing than him on some issues. And so people should be very cautious about imagining that she would seek office in the future as some sort of moderate Republican or something like that. That's not who she is. She has been good on standing up to Trump on these democracy issues, but the bottom line is she is an extreme right-wing conservative.
Right.
Damn right, she is. There is no way in hell anyone should be referring to her
Oh,
as
there we
a
go.
moderate
120,000.
Republican. Policy-wise, she's not a moderate Republican. And just like Mike Pence, she did the bare minimum, which is stand up to protect our democratic process. That's not some heroic thing to do.
I
That
got
is,
one more slot
again,
left.
the bare minimum. And I feel like voters in this country are constantly being conditioned to have insanely low expectations of our politicians.
Agility
including
and explosives.
politicians in the
Good
party we
combination.
Support, and even politicians in the party we don't support. Certainly the case with Liz Cheney. We need to have higher standards. And just
Now, I don't have enough
because
money to repair
we
my
might
truck if I
share
get it really
an
bashed up,
with
so there
Liz
is that.
Cheney doesn't mean that she would be a good representative for the American people. Doesn't mean that she would be a good leader. In fact,
Go
everything
straight on.
that we are feeling pain from today, policy-wise, she has supported, and she would double down on if she had the chance to do it. That's who Liz Cheney is. So, sure, kudos for standing up to Donald Trump, knowing that it's going to cost you a congressional seat, but she knows she's going to be just fine. That revolving door keeps revolving. It's not like she's going to be jobless.
That's true.
She'll be okay.
Should be a commentary on CNN or MSNBC or something.
And pretend like she's America's hero for doing the bare minimum. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we've got more news you can use, including Trump getting rejected by lawyers. They don't want to represent him. Can you blame them? So we'll do a little dunking sesh, and then we'll continue. We'll be right back.
What do you do if nobody wants to represent you because you're obviously a
What's
criminal?
up, everyone? Welcome to our first social break of the day. And since I've been so bad with giving you guys updates on programming and live reads, I'm just going to do that today, okay, off the bat. So let's start off with some exciting news. Nina Turner is hosting a new show at TYT Network known as Unbossed. Unbossed with Nina Turner, and it starts on October 17th. It's a new daily show, and you know it's going to be fantastic because Nina Turner doesn't hold back, and I love strong and salty women. Let's just keep it real, and that's who she is. So tyt.com/unbossed to subscribe. And again, it's a daily show starting October 17th. Don't miss it. Also, I don't know if you guys know this. You should
Kinda heavy.
at this point, but in case you don't, you should be checking out JR Jackson's show as well. It's known as The Watch List. And you can check that out at youtube.com/watchlisttyt.
The shadows are moving.
Watchlisttyt. It airs on weekdays, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific. You could check it out live, or you could just subscribe to that channel, that YouTube channel, and you can watch videos on demand, or VODs, as the cool
6,000.
tech people say.
Yes,
Also,
VODs.
if you're wondering, look, I don't like banking at Bank of America
Anna.
or Chase or any of these big banks. Luckily, we have
I was
a
looking down.
financial institution that you can park your money in, and they actually
Go
have
straight
some
on.
pretty decent value.
I did not make
So
the red light
Aspiration
because I was looking
is
down.
Wonderful. Go to aspiration.com/tyt, open an account, and make an impact and decrease your carbon.
Curses!
Then keep
I
track
brought
of your
that upon
progress using
myself.
The Aspiration app. They're very much concerned about the
Do not watch
environment,
video
and
while
they
you're
wanna use,
driving, by the way.
their
Oh, I can almost read that street sign
institution
across
to
the
do
street.
Something in response to climate change. They want to do their part, and
Franklin
I think
something?
It's great to,
Nope,
deposit
Foothills.
your money in
Foothills
places
Boulevard.
that actually give a crap about the world around us. So aspiration.com/tyt. Finally, Shop TYT. Exciting things are happening. Let's just keep it real, okay? There's a new design that's been released by Shop TYT, and it's been inspired by a TYT fan, which I absolutely love. This is a woman who actually got a tattoo of something I say in that viral video of mine. I don't care what the Bible says. In response to the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. So you can check out that new design at shoptyt.com.
Anna 1110.
All right, fun stuff. We've got
Was that-
7 seconds, so I'm going to read a few member comments, starting with Jonathan, who says, "Are you going to trade ice cream for crudité in the bonus episode?"
Keep right
Would
and
I
then
trade
turn
ice
right.
cream for vegetables? No, I
No.
will not be doing that. Not interested.
Turn
Mickey
right.
C. the Silver Hair Dragon. I just responded to a Facebook post praising Liz Cheney. I reminded him that she's a warmonger, anti-abortion, voted against the Voting Rights Act, and
All right, on
dozens
red.
of other bills that would benefit the people. Yes, praise her for doing the right thing with the January 6th committee. Other than that, she's a true red
Keep
Republican. Mickey C., you get it. We see each other. All right, let's get back to the show.
Back to the show. This is what I got in the middle of the night. Maybe I'll just start doing this when I'm watching the news.
We've got a lot more news to get to, and maybe we need a little bit
Maybe
of
I
a
won't.
break from some of the devastation.
If you're watching on
in the
YouTube, leave a
country.
comment down below.
So
What do you think?
Let's make fun of Trump, because there's
It's like a time
definitely
capsule,
something worth
though.
making fun of here.
Provided you can hear the news, which hopefully you can. Hopefully I have the volume set
Poor,
right.
poor Donald Trump. He's trying and failing to find legal representation to defend him in this ongoing investigation regarding the
Oh.
top secret and classified
going right,
documents
so I
that
can't
he
go on red.
potentially illegally took home with him to Mar-a-Lago. Now, when you take a look at Donald Trump's history with refusing to pay his lawyers or his history of throwing people under the bus after they go through great lengths and bend over backwards to help him, you'll understand why lawyers might not
Keep
be
left
as
and
willing
then
to
turn
represent
left.
him in any case.
He is a terrible
But when it
client.
comes to something as big as treason charges or potential
Turn
treason
left.
charges, you can understand why maybe representing Trump is not in anyone's best interest. But here's what we know, based on a report from
Are you
the
stopping to
Washington
let me
Post.
turn? All right.
Everyone is saying no, said a prominent Republican lawyer who, like some others, spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss confidential conversations. Longtime confidants and advisors of Trump have grown extremely worried about Trump's current stable of lawyers, noting that most of them have little to no experience in cases of this type. So his legal team consists of pretty inexperienced lawyers, and I think that's reflected in the way that some of these investigations are going. You've got lawyers who have never
Shouldn't have tried to shift up gears while I was going uphill.
lawsuits or criminal investigations. You have lawyers who have tiny little firms and have focused primarily on like real estate law. It's just not looking good for Trump. And look, to be sure, everyone deserves lawyers who will defend them. But no lawyer is forced to defend him, and that's where he runs into a problem here. Now, John Sale, who's a prominent Florida defense attorney who worked on the Watergate prosecution team, said that he
I'm gonna have to take another exit in a
representing
second.
Trump last week. In fact, he's one of the few lawyers who was, who received a call
My next
from
rest
Trump,
area
and,
is in
it
7
was,
hours.
I guess, courageous enough to talk about it on the record. He said this: you have to evaluate whether you want to take it. It's not like a DUI. It's representing the former president of the United States and maybe the next one in what's one of the highest visibility cases ever. So I think what Sales said there was, he was being careful. Let's be careful. But I could also read between the lines. And when a
Drive
lawyer
safe.
is willing to sign
Well,
on to an investigation
Okay.
or a case
I got options
involving
ahead of me though,
Trump,
as far as like where to pull
they
over and
run
stop.
the risk of, again, Trump throwing them under the bus. They run the risk of
Keep
eventually
right
becoming
and then exit
part
right.
of the investigation, as is the case, by the way, with the lawyer
Exit right.
who lied to the DOJ about Trump having those
Get ready
classified
to turn
documents
right.
in the first place. That lawyer might be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, here's what else we know. In another potential
Turn
complication,
right.
any lawyer who made assurances to the FBI on Trump's behalf, again, could end up in a lot of trouble because don't lie on behalf of Trump. Trump's search is also being hampered.
Red lights
by
across
his
the intersection.
divisive,
Red on red.
as well as his
Red on
reputation
red.
for refusing to pay vendors and contractors who have worked for him. So let's talk about that a little bit. One lawyer told a story from early in Trump's presidency of his legal team urging him against tweeting about the Mueller probe, only to find he tweeted about it before they got to the end of the West Wing driveway. Some people
Go
said
straight
Trump
on.
was nearly impossible to represent, and that it would be unclear if they would ever get paid.
Oh, is that a viewpoint? Hold
I've
on.
been in situations where
What's that?
family members
No, that's a
ask
truck
me to
dealership.
take care of their kid for a day, right? And
I can try and hit
have kids
that.
of my own, don't want
I don't
kids
think
of
I
my
need
own,
those for an
but I've done
achievement,
that,
unlike
you know,
Euro Truck, in which I
that
do,
itch
I think.
Sometimes I like kids, I like to be around them, I like to take care of them and help my
I do like
family members
picking
out
the
when I
dots
can.
up on the map, though.
Children, literal 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds, are better at following instructions than the former president of the United States. And so, yeah, any lawyer who would consider representing him, knowing full well that he will not take your legal advice, is crazy. Absolutely crazy. And I knew that this day would come
Dreamburger.
when lawyers would realize, not worth it. It almost never works out for Trump's lawyers. His former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, also
I'm
weighed in,
probably gonna have to
saying,
rest
in the
twice
olden
during this
days,
run. Yeah,
he
twice.
would tell
Go
firms
straight on.
representing him was a benefit because they could advertise off of it. Okay, let's just stop for 1 second. This statement from Michael Cohen triggered me a little bit, not because I'm mad at Michael Cohen, but because it reminds me of
Can I get
all
close
the
enough here
times people request
to
free
pick up this
work
question
from
mark?
you, because you don't need the money, you need the exposure. Now, it really depends on where you work. If you work in media, it happens all the time.
Okay.
No, do it. Do it.
Rerouting.
Please spend your entire day working for free because you get
Please
exposure.
make a U-turn when
It's just-
possible.
It's
Can
just
I drive
theft,
through
really.
here
It's
is really the
stealing
question.
people's time and energy.
Turn right.
Michael Cohen continues to say, today is not the same. He's also a very...
Oh, I need that stop sign
in
anyway.
that he's always pushing the envelope. He rarely listens to sound legal advice.
Just taking a brief
And
detour.
He wants you to do things that are not appropriate, ethically or legally. And Michael Cohen should know he served time in prison because he was Trump's former personal attorney
Go
who
straight
did
on.
unethical and illegal things on Trump's behalf. Not smart. Very dumb. So, I love this story because far too often we come across people in positions of power who are treated as if they are above the law, or they just never suffer the same consequences that ordinary people would suffer. Normal people don't get a 2-month warning to hand over the documents or else you'll get raided. Please turn over the document. We know you have the documents. Turn them over, Mr. Trump, or else we're gonna have to do a raid. And Trump's like, tells his lawyer to tell the DOJ, we ain't got no documents. They gave Trump 2 months to comply. A subpoena to turn over the classified documents. He wouldn't do it. And the day the raid happened, it wasn't a no-knock raid. It wasn't a surprise. His lawyers were fully aware that the raid was going to happen. So, I mean, I think everyone deserves a fair investigation, even people I despise. I believe in fairness. I believe that everyone should have
Go
the
straight
ability to defend themselves. So, on one hand, it's kind of scary to not find a single lawyer, a decent lawyer who's willing to represent you. At the same time, I believe this is called when the chickens come home to roost. If you don't pay people, they're not going to want to work for you. If you
That's
continuously
pretty
throw
true.
people under the bus, they're not going to want to be allies to you. And that's where Trump is today. And sorry if
I believe
find
it
a
said
little
it would
bit
be 50
enjoyment
miles an hour
reading
right
about
here,
that.
so I'm not going to speed up further.
All right, well, let's move on to some other news. A story from
Go straight
California
on.
that I think it's upsetting because this isn't an isolated case. There have been several high-profile stories like this
right.
where some of the details are different, but the overall theme is similar. And I just wanted to bring it to your attention. 3 suspects have been arrested for their alleged role in a botched robbery where a Monterey Park, California police officer was shot and killed. That was the result of this botched robbery. So 26-year-old Gardiel Solario was the officer who was shot and killed. He had
55
only
through the
been
curve,
on the
which I
police
am going
force for
higher
1 month.
than.
He was a rookie cop. And when he was outside of an LA Fitness gym waiting in his vehicle, he was approached by one of the suspects, who then proceeded to attempt to rob him. The situation
He attempted to rob a
fell
cop?
apart, and in the end, again, this 26-year-old
Was he in a
police
cop
officer,
car?
rookie cop,
Was he off
was shot and
hours?
killed. Now, the Los Angeles District Attorney, George Gascon, did a press conference where he addressed the severity of the incident. So let's take a quick look at that.
The defendant got out of a car nearby, approached Officer Solorio with a gun drawn in what appeared to be an attempted robbery. Officer Solorio was in his vehicle. Officer Solorio attempted to flee by backing out of his vehicle when the suspect fired multiple times. The defendant then returned back to the vehicle where a juvenile was behind the wheel, and they fled the scene.
Okay.
Today, we'll file 1 count of murder with special circumstances allegations that the murder occurred during the commission of a robbery against Carlos Del Cid.
Carlos
straight
Del
on.
Cid is the name of the individual who ended up shooting the weapon, or firing the weapon, and shooting and killing the cop. It's interesting that In that press conference, Gascon mentioned the enhancements that will be added to the charges here, because he is not a fan of enhancements, including gun enhancements. So for instance, if someone has committed a crime and while committing that crime, they were in possession of an illegal gun, Gascon does not like to add additional charges related to the illegal gun, which I think is very strange in a state that purports to care so much about gun control. So when you have an opportunity to penalize or prosecute someone who is in possession of an illegal gun, you should maybe take that opportunity. Just saying for a second. Now let's get into the details about who Carlos Del Cid is. Carlos Del Cid is, again, just one of the suspects here. There were two others who were arrested. One of whom was a 17-year-old
Should be good on gas.
getaway vehicle. Since he's underage, we don't know too many
Keep
details
right,
about him.
and then
those
turn
records are
right.
sealed.
Interesting looking setup.
Here's a photo of him. His
They got
mugshots,
cement road
and
only
there's
through the
a
intersection.
rights of Carlos Del Cid, because he has a lengthy criminal record and
Ah!
not supposed to be roaming the streets considering his violent criminal record. What do I mean by that? Let's get into the details. Court records show Del Cid was arrested in February of this year.
You're
After
turning
pleading
right.
no
I'm going right on
contest
red.
to 2 felony charges, he was sentenced to 180 days in jail and 4 years formal probation on March 10th. The 20-year-old was actually released the next day for what jail records describe as a short sentence. All right. George Gascon was asked about this. Like, what's up with this short sentence? Why didn't your prosecutors, ensure that this guy who committed violent crimes didn't get released the next day after his sentencing? And here's what he had to say. Any questions concerning the actual length of time spent in custody should be directed to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. All right, well, look,
Okay.
the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department is very problematic. There is evidence of literal gang activity within that department. So when Gascon says maybe you should look at the Sheriff's Department, I'm actually sympathetic to that. So the Sheriff's Department actually did respond to the press when they asked questions. The Los Angeles County District's attorney dropped 3 of the 5 felony charges. On March 10th of 2022, suspect Del Cid was sentenced to 4 years of formal probation and 180 days in county jail with a credit for 58 days served.
What?
It was the district attorney's decision to drop the serious violent felony charges that would have rendered the suspect ineligible for early release. And guess what? I looked into that, and believe it or not, the Sheriff's Department is right. The district attorney's office did allow for a plea deal situation in which the most serious charges pertaining to his violent crimes were dropped. So let's go to the Los Angeles Times.
Why?
And let me be clear, Los Angeles Times loves to carry water for the failed policies that we've been seeing from George Gascon in Los Angeles. They love it. They defend him all the time. But this is what they wrote. Del Cid had previously been arrested December 8th by Los Angeles County deputies from the Lomita Station booking records show. He was cited and released the next day. Records do not show the alleged offense, but it appeared to be a felony level crime. Okay, so we don't know the details of what that felony was, but he was released the next day after committing this felony crime. Okay, great. The Los Angeles Police Department's Harbor Division arrested Del Cid on February 10th, and he was charged 5 days later with burglary, domestic violence, assault with a deadly weapon, false imprisonment, and intimidating a witness. The crimes reportedly occurred on February 9th, records show.
Okay.
All right, these crimes are serious. He didn't just get caught with a baggie of pot, okay? He committed violent crimes. And by the way, the 180-day sentence is super short considering there's kidnapping involved, domestic violence, intimidating a witness. These are serious crimes. Okay, so the initial sentence, 180 days, I would venture to say pretty short. I know there are people on the left that are like, no, not too short, 180 days, too long. Good that he beat up his wife. Okay, embellishing a little bit, but that's how the left comes across when it comes to these types of stories. 180 days, he didn't even serve the 180 days. He was released the next day. On March 10th, he pleaded no contest to burglary and domestic violence, while the other charges were dismissed. A judge in Long Beach sentenced him to 180 days in jail and 4 years of probation, court records show. He was released the morning after that sentence was handed down, having spent a month behind bars, according to Sheriff's Department booking records. So he actually was able to get away with the assault. Assault with a deadly weapon, that charge was dropped as part of the plea deal that was negotiated by the district attorney's office, by the prosecutor.
I'm enjoying this trip.
Understand that? Why would you drop the most serious charges here? No false imprisonment charges. That was dropped too. No charges for intimidating a witness, because that was dropped as well as part of this plea deal.
Is he like a senator's son or something? Like, what's going on with this
When I
person?
was signing up for
All the
criminal
charges getting
justice
dropped.
reform, I thought we were going to do things like reform our prisons. So they're actually, you know, rehabilitating people. I thought we were going to do something about policing. I thought we were going to end qualified immunity, so cops can't get away with shooting down unarmed individuals as they're running away from them. We didn't do that. I thought that we were going to provide funding for actual robust
Okay.
programs that would help
That should be the last
nonviolent
gas station rest
offenders
area that I
transition
passed
back
before
into
there's a rest
society
area
so
by
they
itself
live full,
up ahead on the
happy
right side of the
lives.
road.
Didn't do that either. Instead, we're playing this game where we just... By the way, I also never thought that anyone was advocating for the early release of violent criminals, including individuals who have literally been in prison for murdering others. But it turns out California's all about it, and I ain't. I think it's a terrible, terrible way to go about this. This ain't reform. It's all about playing patty cakes with people who are not in any way rehabilitated, who have committed incredibly violent crimes, and in some cases, robbed others of their lives. And get a load of this Los Angeles Times headline.
Keep left.
Amid COVID-19, California
Keep
releases
left.
some inmates doing
Oh.
time for murder. Advocates push to free more. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. I don't believe in the death penalty. But I would say that if you murder someone and you have spent
is that it?
time in a facility, in
That's
a
it.
prison that does not rehabilitate, because that's what our prisons are, it's very unlikely that you're rehabilitated, and just releasing you into the world with no rehabilitation.
Oh, wait, that's beneath me.
Bad idea.
Wait, that's not
Bad
it?
idea.
Hold on, where am I going?
More than 63,000 inmates convicted of violent crimes will be eligible for good behavior credits that shorten their sentences by 1/3 instead of 1/5.
I guess we
that
go
had been
over
in place
here.
Since 2017. That includes nearly 20,000 inmates who are serving life sentences
not what I
with
intended,
the
but-
possibility of parole. Keep in mind, by the way, we don't even know
I wanted to
how
go over
these good
here.
credits are determined.
No.
There's really no specificity there. More than 10,000 inmates convicted of a second serious but
Well,
non-violent
whoops.
offense under the
I thought I
Sentencing
could get to
Strike
that
Law
road
will
from
be
off.
eligible for release after serving half their sentences. That's an increase from the current time served credit of 1/3 of their sentence. And if you think that, no, come on, Anna, they're not releasing violent criminals, even though the reports indicate they are. This is all about non-violent individuals. No, actually, a much smaller portion of the individuals who have been released from California state prisons are non-violent offenders. Los Angeles Times has the numbers. The same increased release time will apply to nearly 2,900 non-violent third strikers, the
Keep
Corrections
left.
Department projected. And the reason why is because the non-violent offenders are in county jails. The majority of them are not in state prisons. So this is the state releasing inmates.
Keep
And
right,
there was
and
a little
then
bit of
exit
backlash,
right.
luckily. And the California Supreme Court weighed in the summer.
Exit right.
And I think that they made the right decision here. Because fact of the matter is, California voters overwhelmingly voted in
Keep
favor of something
right.
known as Prop 57. And so Prop 57, I voted for it, was marketed to voters in California as, hey, our prison population is ridiculous. We have all sorts of non-violent people serving time when they shouldn't be. So I was in favor of early release.
Go straight on.
Because I thought, as it was advertised to me, that it was only non-violent individuals. But it didn't work out that way. And so there was a fight, there was backlash,
Keep
and
left,
finally the
and then
California
turn left.
Supreme Court weighed in. The justices found that the ballot materials revealed that the voters intended to exclude any inmate
Turn
currently
left.
serving a term for a violent felony from early parole consideration, regardless of whether such an inmate has also been convicted of a non-violent felony. And the High
Okay.
Court ruled that corrections officials
We're gonna top off the
acted
gas.
properly in
I don't think I can get to that
drafting
repair
regulations
shop.
exclude from early parole consideration any prisoner who is currently serving a term of incarceration for a violent felony. There's a lot we can do to reform our justice system, and I have a long history of talking about those things. So if anyone thinks that I'm just trying to be tough on crime, you are mistaken. But for anyone who thinks we need to be soft on violent criminals, including those who have committed murder,
Yeah,
I'm
that
in favor
repair
of that.
shop is kind of out of the way.
I think it's dumb policy. I think it's dangerous policy. And for progressives who are looking to rally support, I don't know if you're going to win if you have all these people being victimized by violent criminals who are just released from prison with no rehabilitative plan in place. That's the reality. I know some of you wanted some specificity when I talk about the disastrous decisions being made in California. Here's one of them. We
Hello?
gotta take a break. When we come back, we've got more news, including one of the most terrible stories.
Where's this rest area
involving
count?
The ramifications of these abortion bans in various states. Stay tuned. We've got that and more coming right up.
Well, this is adding to my time.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to our social break. Lots of comments to get to. Let's shout out our Twitch community, which, by the way, if you're wondering, how can I watch you guys on Twitch? It's twitch.tv/TYT. Mistress Dragon renewed their 15-month subscription with the comment, "Hey, Anna, bring on the spicy takes, please. I need the pick-me-up." Well, I don't know how much this hour has given you a pickup, but I hope you're enjoying it. We've got Bitingale rating. with
Okay,
their party
weird.
of
You want
10.
me to
Thank
stop
you
in the
so
middle of
much
the
for
road,
that.
but alright.
Drew and
Middle of the
Georgia gave
drive.
a tier 1 sub, thank you. Expat Echo renewed their 17-month subscription. Members since 2015, love you all. We love you right back. We've got Archer Spade, who renewed their 17-month subscription. J Unit YT subscribed with Prime. Drew in Georgia gifted 3 tier 1 subs. Thank you so much. And finally, we've got Kyle
Okay.
315. Can we hook Trump up with Alex Jones?
We're gonna try something a little bit different today.
His whole phone. Oh, I would love that.
Well,
I just had a fantasy about it. It'd be so good.
actually, hold that
What
thought.
a wonderful lawyer.
So that's a
Anyway,
decent stopping
let's
point for
go
a
to
long
our
trip.
YouTube community. Melissa Stoner became a member. Thank you so much for the support. Anna Marie Starr renewed their 19th month membership with the comment, "Make my wish a foundation wish is to be able to vote for
Okay,
Bernie
hold on.
and AOC on the 20."
For anybody who's watching sometime later on YouTube, I would like to thank you for watching. This has been American Truck Simulator, presented by Improvision Entertainment. I've been Hunterman, and I will see you in the future when we conclude this mission, which is going pretty well. But then again, I'm not talking much, so, you know, if you are watching later on YouTube, leave a comment down below if you're okay with these type of things. I won't get to see it for months at this point with the way the upload schedule is concerned, but it looks like I'm playing these games for clumps of a couple of weeks every year or so. So I'll have your comments at least by the next time I do this, hopefully, provided that you are commenting. But in any event, this has been American Truck Simulator. I've been Hunter Munn, and I will see you in the future.